Chapter 7, Supporting Your Speech Ideas. We're going to explain why supporting materials are necessary, the various types of verbal support material, supporting materials' strengths in explaining and providing arguments and ideas, incorporating it into the speech, supporting methods ethically through correct citation, and how perception and attention affect your presentation. So, why supporting materials are needed? They answer our questions and desires for specific information, and support material draws the difference between general and specific details. Two roles of support material: it informs, it clarifies, explains, illustrates, gives examples to your audience about the topic that you're talking about, and it also persuades. So when you're giving a persuasive presentation, it proves your argument, it backs up what you have to say and your argument. So think of them as supports for a bridge. So when you have a bridge, you have the supports below that keep it held up. When you have a speech, you need supports to add evidence and information toward everything that you say. So those supports are your statistics, expert testimony, examples, narratives, scientific and historical fact. It holds up everything else that you have to say. So there's different types of support materials. Examples: narratives, stories. We know that people enjoy stories. It brings them in to the topic. It personalizes it. Definitions, descriptions, historic and scientific facts, statistics, and testimony. So examples and narratives. Examples: use examples your audience will understand. Narratives: the power of a story, personal anecdotes, literary anecdotes, historical information, hypothetical information. We know that that personalizes what it is that you're talking about. If you are talking about a topic that directs you personally and you're comfortable and able to communicate that in a clear way, personalize your speech. Give that story, explain that connection. Using definitions. Don't use the dictionary definition of the word. That doesn't indicate your knowledge and understanding of the word. You may define jargon or stipulated definitions and define by classification and differentiation, provide examples, comparison and contrast. That type of information will help. Descriptions. Expand your vocabulary with and use specific language. Think about imagery. Think about using your words to paint a picture for your audience so that the information that you provide has very clear description so that your audience feels what you're feeling, can see what you're seeing, can taste what you're tasting, and you're going to use descriptions throughout that process. Facts. You can use historical and scientific facts and observation that has been repeatedly confirmed and for all practical purpose accepted as truth. And you can quote. You can and should be verified with appropriate citations. Statistics. Statistics are largely misunderstood and terminology is often confused. They aren't just numbers or numerical facts. They are a collection, analysis, comparison, interpretation of numerical data, understanding its comparison with other numerical data. So in order for a statistic to have meaning, you need to provide for the audience the information that went behind collecting that information. How does this compare to previous information and research? Tips for using statistics. Use statistics as support, not as main points. Always provide the source of the statistic. Use reliable sources. Don't overuse statistics. Use graphs to display the most important statistics. I think this is super important. I think when you are using statistics in your presentation, that's a great way to incorporate visual aids. When you just throw numbers at some of us, our brains don't accept them very well. But when we see them in a graph or a chart, when we have that visual representation, and in addition to you telling us, it makes much more of an impact. Explain as needed. Sometimes you can't just provide a number or a statistic for your audience. You need to tell what that means. If you do your own research, explain your methodology and use statistics ethically. Make sure you explain what they mean. Use physical comparisons as analogies. and slow down when you give statistics to make sure that your audience really absorbs everything that you're saying. That's another reason why I think the visual aid really helps solidify that. Testimony. You might use an expert testimony, must be in the field of expertise, provide credentials as to why this person provided a testimony and is qualified to do so. Make it clear when you are quoting your expert witness. A peer, you could use this testimony, but it's not really going to provide evidence. Perception, how we organize and interpret patterns of stimuli around us. Attention, how we focus on one stimulus while ignoring other stimuli. And we only have limited attention. Multitasking is a myth. So why do we pay attention to certain things and why do we not pay attention to others? We make a choice. We choose what we want to pay attention to. We have expectations. What do we expect to hear versus what we're actually hearing? Our needs, what we need at the time, motivates us to pay attention and focus. Past training and experiences set the expectation. What have we previously been exposed to? So we kind of know whether or not we need to pay attention. And attention factors, the things that help you draw attention to your main points. So factors of attention. We can use the following ways to get attention: movement, animation, humor, conflict, novelty, familiarity, repetition, proximity, intensity, concreteness. So think about, as you gather your support material and prepare to present it, what is the best way to present it? What is the best way to ensure that your support material will get the attention of the audience? How is the best way to ensure that it will have the impact that you hope it will have? Please let me know if you have any questions, and I hope this helps you as you gather and use support material to build your presentation.